Hello YouTubers, I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Gear. And last time we were taking a look at the Boss DD200. Great sounding pedal. So I wanted to put it on my pedal board for sure. And to do that I had to look into a few things, and one of them is MIDI control, right, for the DD200. And instead of standard MIDI jacks, where you could just use a regular cable, that's not the case with the Boss DD200. However, I had experience already because I had the Boss SY200, which is a synthesizer pedal. And so I knew right off the bat that I would need a MIDI Type A adapter. Okay, and who knew that there was a MIDI A and a MIDI B? And MIDI B has been the norm pretty much. You know, regular standard MIDI cable. But Type A is totally different. The pinouts are different. Now, Boss says you should buy their cable, you know, which are like $20 a piece. That can get very expensive very quickly. However, what you can do is get a little MIDI Type A adapter, about $5. And if you get it from Sweetwater, you get the free complimentary candy bag. So keep that in mind. Alright, let me show you the adapter. And if you take a look at it here, right, here's the TRS little tiny jack. It's like a headphone jack, pretty much. Mini headphone jack. And there's the adapter right there. Now what that allows you to do is then connect a standard MIDI cable. Right here, right? And that goes down to the MIDI out. Okay. So this plugs into the MIDI Type A on the side of the Boss DD200. So let me do that. Now, the first thing I wanted to try was to be able to set the tempo, right? Because for digital delay, that's awfully important. And because I had to connect the MIDI cable to something on the board, you know, somewhere where it could tap in and get that tempo information. And so I chose the Evitide H9. Has a MIDI out, right? So I connected it to the MIDI out of the H9, thinking I would get the, you know, tempo information to control the Boss DD200. However, no, that didn't work at all. Until I went into the software, right, the H9 control for the H9 pedal, and then you can select that jack, the MIDI out jack, to be a MIDI through jack, right? And that does send the tempo information, but, you know, to the Boss DD200, and we can look at that here. Alright, now here's the Boss DD200, and notice it's at 120. That's 120 beats per minute. And I have a Disaster Design smart clock. And if I hit a preset here, I'm going to change the tempo, and you'll see it change. And there it is. It's changed to 100 beats per minute. And so that's definitely very important because you can hear the difference. beats per minute to 120, and you can hear the difference here. Again, I had to change the MIDI out jack configuration on the H9 to be MIDI through, right, so that it would pass through the tempo information on the MIDI out jack of the H9, which I connected to the MIDI cable coming from the DD200. Alright, so that's set. Now, of course, because I've got MIDI hooked up, the next thing I wanted to do was to try some program changes, to change presets. So let's do that. Now here I've got it set, I just set it manually to the very first preset. This is just as a test. So what I'm going to do is hit a foot switch on the controller, and you'll be able to see it on the DD200. Now take a look at here. It says 120, and we're going to switch presets here off the MIDI controller and see if it'll switch presets and tell us which preset it is. So let's try that. And 6 and 8. That's it. There's a 6 preset. There's the 8 preset. 6 preset. So when I hit the button on the source audio, I hit it once, it goes to the 6th preset. Hit it twice, it goes to the 8th preset. So that's great. Let's hear what that sounds like. Okay, so I guess this is a 6th preset. Sounds like this. working fine as far as the presets and the clock tempo work. That's working no problems. Now, there's another issue to consider. And this will be the part 2 video. And this next part is so important that it'll be a part 3 video. But I'll discuss it here. And that is pedal order. And this is so important and so often looked over. And I mean, I've done it, and we've gotten a pedal and, you know, put it at the end of the signal chain. That's the end of it. However, that's not always the best case scenario and can affect your sound drastically. And this is a great example of that. We'll get into that more in part 3 video, which I'll do next, because it's going to require some rewiring and things, so I can give you some examples and things. Okay, so for right now, we've got the MIDI program changes, no problems, and I'll test the continuous controllers, which if the programs work, the continuous controllers should work. I guess you never know, but... And then also, we've got the tempo, right? That's MIDI controlled as well. So I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.